Thank you, Darlene. Thanks everybody for coming. We're going to talk about item prices and some of the tools that we have available to work with those prices, how we can get the most out of our pricing levels as well. So I'm going to start with looking at the item records. When I look at the item records, I can see, well, in mine, I can see, I've got to hide something, sorry, because I can't get to everything. There we go. I can see, you know, my items. I can see the price. I could actually put last cost in here if I wanted to, but I got the category and subcategory and the price. And you can see on mine, yours might look a little different because you might have all green arrows. See, mine have these green arrows, these gray lines, and these red arrows. And how I have got that set up is that each of these categories has a minimum and target margin. So when I look at my category for kitchen, we'll say, so my top one is a kitchen thing, I have a minimum margin that I want to collect on items in that category of 50%. I have a target margin of 60%. So you can tell, did I lose everybody? Sorry. You can tell, okay, thank you. I just heard something and I was like, oops, that's bad. So you can tell that these prices are now based on whatever minimums and targets that I have set. And you can say I can set a minimum on price 2 and price 3, and that first 3 price levels are part of the standard counterpoint. You can set 3 price levels. Most people only use 1. There are quite a few out there that might have, like a garden center might have landscapers or contractors that rather than giving a standard discount would maybe give them a standard price level instead. What these also do for me is as I hover over them, you can see it's telling me the margin that I'm collecting on these. So this one happens to be 100% margin because I have no cost on it. It's the parent item of a kit. This one that's gray is 55% margin, and it's within my minimum and target. But this one that's red is only 34% margin, and I have a target, a range between 50 and 60. So right now, I can actually double click on that red arrow, and I get this unique or neat tool called Set Price. And in the set price, it tells me, you know, what the price is for my minimum margin, what the price would be for my target margin, and what my current is. And I can use this price, or I can set a new minimum. So if this particular item, let me just get back down to it, this painting, I don't think I can sell it for $124. I could actually set a new price between there or set a new margin between there. So the 50% margin would be $99.50, and I can use that price, and it's going to change it to $99.50. Another unique piece or a fun piece about this tool is I can use a rounding rule. There is an entire psychology behind setting those last 2 digits in your price. You know, do we go with 99? Do we go with 95? Do we go with 00? You know, there's, which I have not read, I apologize, there's an entire marketing research on this. So if I really wanted to make it, let's say 90 cents, when I look at it, I set the rounding rule, it wouldn't go, it would go from $99.50 to the final new price, $99.90. If I decided that I wanted it to be 99, now I have the final new prices $99.99. And I can set this by just saying, okay. Now I have a new price. It's a gray line, so it's within my minimum and my target. And I've made the decision that that price is a saleable or a reachable price for the clients that I get in, my customers that come into the store to buy. So pretty cool tool here. And just as a review, you know, or an analysis, anytime I open up the table view, I can just kind of scan down through the entire list to see which items need attention, because maybe I don't do this as I go. Now, I just set that new price to $99.99, and I need to do labels. I'm right in the right place. I can use this tool to go out and print new labels for the quantity in the database. And then I can go out and resticker all of those items. So probably wouldn't do this in the middle of the day unless there was no stock on the floor. However, you know, again, pretty quick tool to take care of the items that need attention and print new labels for the prices that you've changed.
Diane, would you show people how you got to table view?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, table view. Let me save this. Table view is just this grid here. It is a toggle, so it's on or it's off. So most of the time when you go in, you are in record view, and that table has that X right in the bottom corner of the icon. And all I have to do is left click on it to change it to the list view or the table view. And the filters still work. I can still edit in this view. I can make changes to pretty much every field that I can make changes to in the regular record view. For those of you who are not really familiar with this table view, if I right click on one of these defined headings, I can also get the column designer and add in anything that I'm missing that I also maybe want to identify and change. So it's a really great list view. It's, you know, being able to see everything all at once, being able to do the same filters you normally do. Let's just do the gift category. Now this is just all my gift items, and now you can see right away which ones need attention. Actually, a lot of my books need attention. Okay, so that is one really wonderful tool to help me with my prices. And I'm going to go show you my item category. This is where I set those margins. So if I go and find my gift category here, all right, I have a minimum margin of 50 and a target margin of 60. So those margins are set either at the category level or at the subcategory level, which I do not have open, so I'll go grab it. Set up inventory subcategories. And I'm going to go find my books, I think, because maybe I just don't have the right margins in it. But again, I have a minimum margin and a target margin. Let's just kind of go through this. Subcategories and categories both have the same margin fields in them. They have a minimum selling margin, a regular price minimum, and then a price 1 through 6. And again, standard Counterpoint has price 1, 2, 3 available to you. You need the advanced pricing option to get 4, 5, and 6. What is the minimum selling margin doing for you? At the store level, when you configure the store, you can configure the store to use the minimum selling margin. And if somebody is doing a price override and their price that they're setting it to is below this minimum, it will alert them. And if they're not authorized, they'll need a manager override in order to set that price. So you can set selling minimums at that time. And this would have to do, again, with changing the price on the fly. Price 1 minimum is what we were looking at when we were reviewing the list, and that's what those arrows were at. Price 2 minimum, let me just set this to 45 for a minute. Price 2 minimum means that when I'm looking at my list, or not when I'm looking at my list, let me just go back to record view. oh, I didn't have to, never mind. And I go to prices. Right here, if I set a price to, I can actually calculate that in as well. So maybe I want to use this price for price to, and again, maybe I want to set my 99, and you can see my final new price is $25.99. So I can set a price to and a price 3. When I do that, what you have to know is I have to have some kind of pricing group that will automatically pull that price in. So I can't actually grab price to on the fly from point of sale. It actually has to be automatically inserted by the program. Let's just go here. I'm going to change this one again. Maybe my new margin I want is 45, and now $22.99. And I'm looking at this going, oh, but my price 1 is lower than my price 2. It's okay, Counterpoint will do that, but that's not a typical response for how people work. Usually price 1 is the normal selling price, and then it gets discounted from there. Okay. I can also set a new regular price. Most people aren't using the regular price, but I can set a new regular price from here as well. So it's one of those great tools. I love it because, you know, right from the table view, I can see which items need attention, and right from there, I can reset prices and build my labels that I need for relabeling. Any
Diana,
questions?
a question came up on your previous segment. Can you set the rounding rules for all items?
That you can do it in the price sheet, but it so like when you're building a new item, not really. No, you'd have to you always have to kind of enter it or use this quick price tool to get to it.
Okay, and that's it for questions right now.
Okay. Okay. So let's go to the price sheet. That would probably answer your question. Again, these are in here. I'm going to close that one. And I don't have the price sheet open either. So I'm going to go to inventory, prices. And this is where your price sheet is. One of the cool things about table view, and I should mention this, one of the cool things about table view is it can do some global changes. So let me just pick a field that I don't really have anything in, like additional description 3, I don't really have anything in. I'm just going to put my name in there. In this, I can do some global changes by picking, I'm going to pick a field, I'm going to hold shift, use the up arrow on my keyboard to select, and you can see that I'm highlighting these, and they're selected by dots on the end in case you can't see the highlights. If I right click on, again, the column heading, there's that menu, and I can copy values, and that's going to put that word or my name on all of these items in additional description 3. So it's, you know, one of the fun things about the global tool, and that means I can do this with pricing as well. So if I have this set and I wanted to change all of the $45 prices, well, it's probably not a good example, but the $49.99 prices to $53.95, I could do that by, you know, setting one and then selecting the other two, right-clicking again on the heading, using the copy values. What I will caution you is, please always read this message. You are about to set price 1 to $53.95 for the 2 selected records. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. And so now that's all changed. There's no undo button when you do this. It's automatically edited and saved so that you can't escape out of it. If I don't want to do it for multiple, for prices, or I don't want to do it for items that are listed in a row, or, you know, one right after the other, I can do it for non-contiguous items. So I can pick a record, hold my control key, left click on another record, hold my control key, left click on another record, and as long as the last record I pick has the value I want to copy from, I'm going to right click on the heading that at the top of the field that I want to make the change. So right clicking on the description heading on over here will change everything to the traditional Thanksgiving video. Right clicking on the additional description field all the way on the far right will change everything to the word Diane. I'm about to set additional description 3. So again, pay attention to what it's saying. To Diane for the 3 selected records. I'm sure I want to do this. Yes. And so I can do this with non-continuous fields as well as contiguous fields.
Hey, Diane, can you show how to set the category, I think gross margin sales, GMS again?
Yes, I can. So the margin is set in 2 places. I'm going to set up inventory category, and I think I already still have subcategory here. I'm gonna look. Yep, I do. Okay, 2 places. I can set it up in categories or subcategories. And what I am setting is I'm setting as a general rule, price 1, a minimum, and a target. If I have it set in both places, the category and the subcategory, the smaller grouping or that subcategory grouping will be applied instead of the category grouping. So you can set up in both places. Something doesn't have a subcategory or the subcategory isn't defined with a margin, it will use the defined margin for the category. And again, the minimum selling margin has to do with price overrides on the fly. Any questions?
Nope, just a thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so let's go back to that really great price sheet tool. Price sheet will allow me, so sometimes you have more items in a category than you can handle through table view. And what the price sheet is going to allow me to do is to define a group of items, filter down to a group of items, and make some global price changes. So I'm going to do my price sheet ID. I'm just going to call this April 1st, no, April Fools. There we go. Had to have a little fun. And what we're doing is that price sheet ID, so it's not really out there, but so I'll mention it to you. The price sheet ID does have to be a unique ID. You can't reuse them. So, you know, lost time, a date, maybe if you're doing it for a vendor, the vendor. The description is going to be whatever I'm going to do. I'm just going to do glassware. And I'm going to press the tab key or the enter. It's actually going to open up this get items. If it doesn't open the get items, there's a button for it on the right. The get items is how you're going to set your filter. So I really want to do the glass and stemware category, and I can do multiple categories. So this is a filter, and like all filters, it's customizable. So you can customize it just like you would a report filter. I'm going to simplify this again. And then maybe in the glass category, I want to do only the crystal items. Okay. So I've got a lot of choices. I'm not going to do cell-specific pricing, and you could do unit pricing if you sold things like maybe the glassware comes in a 4-pack and you want to update the 4-packs. But I'm going to just pick get items, and it's going to come up with an item list of everything that met my item filter. And lucky me, only 2 items. All right, not so lucky. I kind of chose that. So, so now I have my 2 items, and I can use this column heading to select or unselect all of the lines that were part of my filter. And if I had a large list of items, I might select them all and back out things I didn't want to change. Or I could just check them individually as well. So I am going to add them down in this bottom corner. I am going to add them to my price sheet. These are the items I'm working with. And I know I picked a short grouping because I wanted to make sure that we could get through all of the really fine options that we have with this. You can, while you're in here, just type a new price in, okay? Or what this price sheet is best for is calculating prices. So down in the bottom here, I have a calculate prices. And I'm going to select that, and it's going to open up a window and ask me the first thing, which price do I want to set? I want to set price 1, price 2, price 3, the regular price. What do I want to set? I'm going to just pick price 2. And what do I want to set the new price to? Do I want to set it to an amount? Do I want to set it to a margin? So here's where those targets, those minimums, that specific margin, that target and minimum are coming into play here. I've set them at the category level or the subcategory level. It will use those in this price calculator. Do I want to instead just increase or decrease the price that I'm setting? And do I want to increase or decrease it by a percentage or an amount? So that means I kind of have to have something in price too. And I don't know if you can notice to the right, I actually have empty fields in my price too. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking to set my price to based on price 1. And I could increase it or decrease it. And in that increase decrease, I'm not sure I identified it, but it can be by a percentage or an amount as well. So your choices are increase or decrease, and once you pick that, you're doing it by an amount or a percentage. So I'm going to set it based on price 1, and I am going to increase it by an amount. I'm going to call this 0 because you know what? I'm really strange. I like to have price 2 be what price 1 used to be. And so I'm not going to put a rounding value in. If I re-preview this, it is going to set my price 2 to be equal to my current price 1. And I'm going to apply that. So now, me being the person I am, I've got a record of where I started because I put it in price 2. You could do that same thing with price 1 or price 3 or whatever you wanted to do. Or, you know, if you're not like me, I'm a little crazy like that. You could just ignore what I just said. So now I want to set price 1. I am going to do a new price 1. And what am I going to do with that new price 1? I can set it based on the target margin. Well, I'm looking at these arrows and I'm thinking, it is already not part of the target margin. So I don't think target margin is going to work very well. So I'm going to set it to a specific margin. And if my specific margin is 60%, I can preview what it's going to do. So it's going to set price 1 to $88.13 on the first one and $120.63. Well, those are really bad numbers, aren't they? Because we want to do those rounding values. And here your rounding values live again. And now if I preview this, yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to apply those. So again, just as I said, you know, here it is. I'm going from $65 to $88.95, $95 to $120.95. Oh, I don't like $120.95. $122.95 looks like a much nicer price. Oh, no, $123.95. As you can tell, I did not study the marketing research. But I don't like $88.95. I'm going to change it to $89.95. Now, I did not have to actually do that manually. If I go to calculate prices and I'm going to set my price 1 based on price 1, and I'm going to increase it by a percentage, and let's just say, 3%, I can put in that $9.99. It will take that last dollar amount as well. And now you can see, yep, I want to overwrite them, $69.99 and $99.99. So I have the ability to set the ones field as well as the tenths and the hundredths. on my prices. Let's just apply that. And I'm going to close this. So my new price one would be $69.99. My new price one on the decanter is $99.99. And boy, you know, that looks really great. I don't know if I'm going up or down because I don't know what I did with price two, but it looks like I'm going up. It has not, I can save this. It has not set that price yet. So if I were to go and look in my item records and look for my crystal berry bowl, this actually should be here somewhere. Berry bowl. Let's just clear my and do this. Come on, take it out of here. Darn it, I shouldn't have put a space bar in. There we go. Here's my crystal berry bowl. The current price is $65. Even though I saved my price sheet at $69.99, that price has not changed. When does that price change? I have to actually go in here and apply the price changes. This makes this a lot more controlled because when I apply these price changes, there is a setting in inventory control. So if I go to set up inventory, inventory control, there is a setting that allows me to, under the labels tab, print the new labels without me having to go searching for those items that I just changed. So I'm going to prompt to print those items. And again, I'm going to go back here for a minute so you can see those choices. I should have stayed there for a minute. My choices are, don't create those labels because of course I really like hunting and searching for labels that I have to print. Create the tags for later printing. So tags, remember tags are a label group created by a transaction. And that's how I usually remember what tag stands for. Tag stands with T. That means I'm getting labels from transactions. Transactions start with T. Or I could prompt the user to print them right now, or I could print them automatically. I'm not going to get a prompt, it's just going to spit those labels right out. If I'm doing a group of items that have a variety of label stock that I attach, I'm probably going to want to prompt to print those labels so that I can manage the printing to the label stock that I have in the printer. Let's go back to my price sheet though, because remember I haven't assigned these prices yet, and now I'm going to apply those price changes. And it is going to give an event number, and it wants to know if I want to print labels now, and I could say yes. I don't have a label printer. And again, you still have this filter, but it's going to print the quantity from the database. So if I only have one of each of these items, it's going to print me 2 labels. If I have 10 of each of these items, I'm going to get 20 labels. And I have a choice. I'm not sure if probably a number of you already know this. If I'm using shelf labels, I'm going to change this to just print 1. That way I can just change the label on the shelf without having to manage every item. Purge tags after printing means that once I'm done, that whole tag event, not the event itself, but the tags, the label grouping is going to be gone, and that list is going to be fairly clean. So, nice tool that allows me to change my prices. Let's go back to my crystal, and it's looking, oh, it doesn't look like it's changed. There's your refresh button to see any changes that have happened since you've opened this item record. And I'm going to left click on that, and it should change this. Let me think. Did I say yes? I did say yes, because there's my price 1 and my price 2. I may have advanced pricing in, so it's in my item prices.
Diane, we have a question.
Yes.
Does the price sheet calculate margin based on last cost, vendor cost, or average cost? Trying to think of the best way to do price changes in advance of receiving items at an increased vendor cost if we've already updated the vendor cost but not received at a new cost.
Ooh, that is a good question. I believe it does it on last cost. So if you are valuing your inventory at landed, you're going to want to make an additional higher margin to cover that landed base. But it does do it on last cost.
All right, great.
And
that's it for
remind me
questions.
at the end. Remind me at the end. There's a setting in for receiving, by the way, too, to update prices. Did you have another question? Sorry.
Nope, that's it for questions.
Okay. Yeah. Remind me of that one at the end, Darlene, and I'll go through the settings to be able to do a price change on the fly in receiving.
Okay.
And this is another way to speak to this too, is the price sheet vendor cost increase and vendor increase. Is you can, let's just get some items that are based on my vendor for, I don't know, gifts and accessories. I'm going to get those items. I can choose them all. I'm going to add them to my price sheet. And again, my calculate prices, my vendor's gone up 10%. I could always increase price 1 by a percentage on my own of, you know, 5, 10% right away too, if you think that's what you want to do. Apply it to, and you remember, you're only applying it to your price sheet. Now this can just wait till all the costs come in and you can decide whether to accept these or not. But it could wait until you receive them. Okay. So that's my price sheet, a great global pricing tool. If you remember back to here, I'm going to cancel my edits for a minute. That table view, great visual. If I find I have a lot of red arrows in the same category or the same vendor, I can go through and do a whole price sheet on the same vendor. Okay. Boy, I talked through a lot of pages all at once. Let's talk about other ways. So this is setting my normal selling price when I set price 1. Price 2 and price 3 would have to come through some kind of pricing group. So a pricing group, if I go into inventory, and up here, I'm looking up here because it's telling me where I am. So you might have thought I was in inventory, but I was under setup for the inventory. I do have these breadcrumbs along the top to tell me where I'm at in the menu, and I'm going to go to prices. So now I know I'm in, from the home menu, I'm in inventory prices. I'm in the right place. Ways to change the prices on the fly. There are contract prices, promotional prices, special prices. These will automate price changes for you based on rules that you put in here. And the way the programming works in point of sale, when you have the touchscreen open, is you put an item on the sale in the ticket. Program will go out and look for a contract price that applies. If it doesn't find a contract price that applies, it looks at promotional. Doesn't find promotional, it looks at special. Doesn't find special, it does price 1. It applies price 1. So, and that hierarchy is important to know, because you could have contracts that would be member pricing, or you could have contracts, a real contract with an organization that always gives them reduced pricing all year long. Promotional prices are typically, you know, temporary sales. Darlene mentioned to me that someone is having a Mother's Day sale coming up, so they would put it under promotional prices. Counterpoint finds the first that applies and does not go any further. It applies it and does not bundle anything, does not look for the lowest price. So knowing that, and that promotional prices are probably the ones that you want to work in, and the ones I usually tell people to work in. Put all your prices, even your contract prices, in promotional prices, because then you can move things around so that your contractor or your contracted price can still get the best price, and you can still maintain a history on what they're buying. So let's just look at contracts for a minute. Contracts, specials, and promotions all have a group code. You have to give it a group code. I'm just going to call this contract. And you have to give it a description. This is the same as well. You can assign a mix and match code or not. Mix and match codes are assigned at the item level, and I'll talk about what they do in a minute. There is in the contract group a main tab and a rules tab. On the main tab, it has a date range. So if you have a contract with maybe a local university or a college, they have they do contracts and they want to have a date. And usually the start of the school year, July 1st, to the end of the school year, June 30th, and that's the date of your contract. And they, at the end of the school year, they'll renegotiate for the following year. So you'll make a new contract for them. You can set also on the main tab who the customer is or who the group of customers are. So if you have, maybe you're a garden center and you have landscapers, and maybe you even have different levels of landscapers. So, you know, the gold level of landscaper gets 25% off all the time, and the silver level of landscapers get, you know, 15% off. And then the bronze level would get 10%. And that would just be any contractor who happens to identify themselves as a contractor. You can set up different contracts for those people, or in one contract group, you can set up different rules. Well, actually in a contract, if they're different customers, they have to be different contracts. Other than that, the rules tab has a place to put in the prices, any item, filters, and then any filters about the sale that have to go on. And again, I'm going to get into what all of those are when I go to promotions. So contract, if you remember, main tab has dates and customers, rules has prices, items, and sales. When I look at my promotion groups, okay, my group code, I have a group code and a description, which I had before. I still have this mix and match code. My main tab only has the dates. My rules tab has taken on the customer filter. So I could have a landscaper's promotion group that has a rule for each of these landscape levels, we'll say gold, silver, and bronze. So where am I going with this? Okay, so my next level is special prices. So remember, it goes contracts, promotions, specials. If it doesn't find anything, charges price 1. But it always looks in that order, stops when it finds something. My special only has the group code and it has the rules. Excuse me a minute, I have to. Sorry. So it has the rules. So I don't, if I have to put any kind of dating in, it's going to be on this sales tab. So let me talk about all the different tabs that I have. Yeah, I want to get rid of this. Back to my promotions, because this is where I put in all of my examples. I put it under promotions. So here I have a Mother's Day group code. I'm going to have a Mother's Day sale. On my main tab, I put in a date range, and normally it would be in May, but because it's today and it's not May yet, I just wanted to show you in touch screen how this one works, so I put it in for today. So I suppose I could make it extend it all the way into Mother's Day. That would be nice of me, wouldn't it? I'm going to save that. You can have a beginning date and an ending date. You can have a beginning time of day as well. So maybe this always starts at 5 p.m. and ends at 7 p.m. So it goes from 5 to 7 if you wanted to do something like that, to bring people in at a certain time. It could be a sale that goes from 10 to noon because you don't get a lot of morning people, or it could be something that goes from 1 to 3 to get those after lunch people. If you put in no beginning date and no ending date, it would have no beginning time and no ending time, and it would just be available all the time unless you uncheck the enable. But the beauty of the promotion is that I can put in a date range and it will start, let me just go with no beginning time. It will start at the beginning of the day because I told it to. It will go to the end of the day, and it's going to immediately start today, immediately end on the 10th at the end of the day. So I have to, once I've set these rules in place, I don't have to do anything else. Alert my cashiers or my sales associates that it's going to happen, but it should just kick in automatically. Going to go to the rules. I can have as many rules as I want. And again, I just want to point out that if I have more rules, the first rule that applies, pick price 2, sorry, 1, price 2, save that line. The first rule it finds will be applied and it will not look for any more. So if I have my more rules above my coupon rule, and my more rules has all items in it with no restrictions on the filters. Anything in this category, this has a rule of the candle category. Anything in this category is going to be included in this rule, so that coupon will never apply. I want to make sure that I move up my smaller grouping of items or my filtered list above my not filtered list, so that if it's in that Mother's Day time period and if they provide me with a coupon and they buy a candle, I'm going to get my price. Okay. So let's talk about, I'm sorry, I'm going to pause for a minute. Is there a question on what I've already identified?
No, there are no questions at this point.
Okay, great. Let's talk about the different types of rules I can do. So I have a variety of promotions that I've already configured. This one came in recently. Somebody was looking for a Mother's Day promotion. So I thought, oh, let me set it up for this presentation so that you can see it. So what they were asking is, you know, they have a Mother's Day promotion. They wanted it to be based on a coupon. Most promotions, when you do them, you would say, let me just do a new line and let me do candles, sorry, glassware. You might do a rule like glassware 10% off for this time period. And here on this first tab, you're going to basically identify the price calculation. And I'll talk about BOGOs in a minute as well. So just kind of a standard non-BOGO type thing. Do I need a minimum quantity in order for this 10% to apply? No, I'm overstocked on glassware. I want to just move some out. So I'm not going to set any kind of minimum quantity. What's my price method? So my choices are, I can pick a price, which means I'm going to pick price 1, 2, or 3, which means I have to set price 1, 2, or 3. If I want it to pick price 3, I need to set a price 3. Am I going to set a fixed price? Am I going to make it so that the price is always the same? Am I going to do a discount percent or a discount amount? And if I do something like that, a discount percent, I have to say, which price level am I discounting? Or which price level am I taking an amount off of? My other choice is, and sometimes I see this for employee pricing, am I doing a markup percent or a markup amount? And if I am, what's the basis for that? You can see, you know, you might have been questioning, well, I have price 1, price 2, I have price 3, but why do I have average, standard, and last cost in here? Well, if this might be an employee price, I might have my employee benefit be cost plus on anything they buy. So cost plus means that I'm going to do a markup percent of, there you go, 10% on the cost. So that's what all of these methods are about. A fixed price basically doesn't need a basis. You're just setting an amount that you're going to sell it for. Most of the time, I'm going to have to get rid of this line because I just, there we go. Oh, it is in there. Most of the time, what people do is they do a discount percent and they discount price 1. And that's what a large number of sales are. And here, because I said this was a percentage method, the 10 in here represents 10%. If I said this was an amount, the 10 would represent $10. I don't have to put any dollar signs or percent signs. It's the method that determines whether it's a percentage or an amount. Okay, so now I've got 10%. This rule description I'll tell you about in a bit how it's going to be useful to you, but you do want to kind of give a quick identifier of, you know, what you're trying to accomplish. Items. If I don't put anything in the item filter, it's going to give 10% off everything, whether I've made my description say glassware or not. If it's not in the filter, it's not going to happen. So I want to make sure that I pick my glass and stemware items in order to limit what I'm putting my 10% on. I can limit the customers as well. So it could be 10% only for those customers that I have, you know, that are special customers. And maybe because they're special because they always buy glassware. I don't know. Again, for a lot of the promotions that you do, you're not going to put any filter on your customer records. And then on the sales tab, is this just going to be at one store? It's going to be at all my stores. Again, like most filters, if I leave it blank, it's everything. Is there a day of the week? So, you know, maybe it's always every Tuesday. Maybe I should make it Wednesday. That would be hump day, and that people would probably want to get their stemware to fill it with their bottle of wine. Oh, that's a big stemware. So the day of the week is Wednesday. I've already got my date range on the main tab, but I could also set a secondary date range. So right now, when I put the day of the week as Wednesday, it is only going to discount glassware on Wednesdays in this date range. Once this date range is over, that whole rule is done. But I'm not going to put in a day of the week either. And that I'm going to save the line. And again, if both of these are glassware, which they're not, but let's say both of them are glassware, I want to make sure that the preferred result, the preferred calculation is above, you know, one or the other. So is it, you know, let's just say this is 15%, not 10%. You know, is it the 15%er, or is it the, and I'll put in my glassware here too, is it the 15%er that I want first, or is it the 10%er? So now it looks like these two are pretty much the same line, except for this sales tab. Well, in this case, the request was, we want the customer to present our Mother's Day coupon in order for them to get their 15% off. So I just changed it to 15% off, because now right here, over here, 15 versus 10. If they don't present their coupon, they'll get 10% off. That's great. Or maybe I can make it 5% off because it's still my Mother's Day sale. But if they do present that coupon, they're going to get an extra 5% off. How this is working is I'm using a ticket profile code that they're going to scan their coupon into in order for them to apply that 15% coupon. So I'm going to save this one. And that's my Mother's Day rule. I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm going to go through BOGO a little bit. I'm not sure if we can go a little over. Buy one, get one. I have 2 buy one, get ones with multiple rules. So this buy one, get one, the difference between buy one, get one and a standard price is you're going to check this box, and these quantities now represent the quantities that go on the ticket. So first rule, buy one, get one, buy 3, get 1 free. The first item that goes on is going to be at price 1. The second item that goes on is going to be at price 1. The third item that goes on the ticket is going to be at price 1. And the fourth item that goes on the ticket is going to be free because it's a fixed price. That's how I do buy 3, get 1 free. I have to check the box, and then I have to set my limits or what I'm doing with this. When I put, this will rotate through. When I put the 5th item on the ticket, it is going to be at price 1. So it's going to do this in groups of 4 in order for the 4th one to be free. So first 3 are full price, 4th one's free. The next 3, so 5, 6, 7 are full price. The 8th one is free. That's how buy one, get one works. Twofer, 2 for 1, or 2 for, it's called twofer, but it's you would set, in this case, again, set your BOGO pricing. And this time I've set require the full group to qualify. And that's because my first one, I want it to be full price unless they buy all 3 of them. And that's when that $7.50 is going to kick in. So the first one is going to be full price because I don't have all 3 on there. The second one is going to be full price because I don't have all 3 on there. The third one I put in is going to change the price on all of them to $2.50 each for a total of $7.50 for 3 of them. So that would be your twofer rule. Stepped pricing. This also does step pricing. It's akin to like copies. You know, you go to a copy place and they say, well, you know, the first 100 copies are 10 cents a piece, and then the next 100 are 9 cents a piece, and then after that they're, I don't know, 8 cents a piece or 7.5 cents a piece, whatever they do. That is called stepped pricing, and Counterpoint can do that as well. So in this case, I am checking the BOGO. My first 10 are going to be at price 1. My next 20 are going to be discounted by $1, so price 1 less $1. My next 30, so next 10 after that, so first 10, you know, 11 to 20 is $1 off. 21 to 30 is $2 off. And then I have this quantity with 9 nines in it, and that means everything after the 30th one is going to be $2.50 off. And I'm saying dollar amounts because I put a discount amount in. There's 2 ways to use the stepped pricing. The second way is to make the first item free. So I'm giving a free bottle of water, because this is on my, my water item, my beverage water. I'm giving a free bottle of water on the first one. I'm still using my BOGO price. And then every bottle of water after that is going to be charged price 1. So a couple of different ways to use your stepped pricing. And one other thing I want to make sure I cover is this mix and match code. When I am doing this, when I have my price in my glass category and I do this BOGO where the fourth one is free, without this mix and match code, they have to buy 4 of the same items that are part of my glass category. Can't buy just any piece of glass. They have to buy 4 of the same glass. And it doesn't matter if I'm using a standard price or not. In my mix and match here, when I do the fourth one free, as long as all the items have this mix and match code assigned, they can buy 4 of any item in my glassware category and get the fourth one free. So when I'm looking at this, the mix and match code allows me to combine or group my items so that they can buy any of the items in a group, and it doesn't matter if it's a BOGO or not, the price will apply. Any questions at this point? I'm going to stop and take a breath.
I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay. All right. So that's what the glassware is doing in my mix and match code. I have another great tool I want to show you. It's under utilities, and it is called the price test. The price test allows me to test those items. I'm going to have to pick a glassware item now because I think I did everything under glass. Test those items. Oh, good, there's one. And I can put a date in, and I can get the price. Move this over here a little bit. I can get the price, and it's going to tell me that it is charging $37.50. It's part of my buy one get one, and my normal price is $37.50. Over here, it tells me my normal price is $37.50. If I put in the 4, because I want to know that it's working on the buy one get one, if I put in the 4, you can see it's $37.50. $37.50, $37.50, and then 0. So I am getting that fourth one for free. And if I have a date set on this, which I'm not sure I do, and I go outside of that date range, I don't know that I have a date set on it. If I go outside of that date range, I'm going to go set that date because I need it. Price sheet, don't want that. And here, promotional prices. I've got my BOGO in here. Buy one, get one. And I'm going to set a date range for today. Save it. Don't know if that's the same one. Today. And save it. So I can use my price test here to go through and determine, that when that price ends, when I expect it to be charging regular pricing, it will. So on May 14th, it's charging regular price. If I do it today and get price, it's on the BOGO. And this is why that rule description is so important as well, because it's telling me over here, first of all, that it's coming from my promotional price group, BOGO. It is the buy one, get one is my price group description, but I have a rule description as well. And this is the rule that's being used to assign my prices. So you want to make your rule descriptions, even among all the different groups, a little bit unique so that you can track back to why is it doing what it's doing, or why isn't it working when it should be. So if I go to tomorrow, and I get that price, it's back to regular price. I love the price test. It has helped me out so much in support. If you have 2 minutes, I just want to go and show that coupon piece. So you would enter your coupon, and it could be scan any item number. And then I'm going to sell, I believe I did it on glassware. And say that. No, I didn't do it on glassware. What did I do it on?
Candles.
Who was paying attention?
Candles.
Candles? Thank you. Now they changed it, but candles. Oh, it's not working. I must not have set the date right because I think that's not the normal price. I think. Yeah, $39.90 is the normal price. So now this is a good way to get to my price test. I'm expecting this to work right now, but it's not, and I need to go to my price test to figure out what's going on. Why isn't it hitting the right thing? So I can go back to my promotions and I can go back to my price test on this one. And then a short word about mix and match codes. There are a variety of ways to base your price on mix and match codes. The price based on total quantity is the only one that works with buy one, get one.
So there's a question on mix and match. Can it be based on subcategories as well?
You would assign, so mix and match codes are assigned to the item records. So if I go to my glassware, let me just add in that mix and match code in my column designer. Here we go, add that in, say okay. You can see I've only assigned it to my glassware. And that's how you get it assigned at the item level. So, or to the subcategories, is you will only assign it to those items in the specific subcategory. There is a tool, by the way, so that you don't have to use the table view to do that. There is a utility that allows you to assign globally the mix and match code under inventory utilities. So let me just go here. So I'm in the inventory menu. I'm going to utilities. I'm going to assign mix and match codes. There are filters in here. You can use a subcategory filter. You would pick your assigned mix and match code. You can even update items that already have a mix and match code and preview the list, update the items. You're ready to go.